The thing is, now I'm gonna go back to Hollow Knight, brother. This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough. We just have to... There's so much stuff on my desk today. My mom went by and bought me all of this stuff, and I didn't put it where it's supposed to be, and now there's stuff everywhere. Ooh, I forgot to put on my bling, baby. I gotta put on my bling! Since Anna made this to me. Are you kidding me? Really? Are you actually kidding me? I just drank water! Why are you doing this to me? You're gonna get me water poisoned. Maybe, yeah, I think I was. Fine, I will. Hold on. You're gonna hydrate me to death, Anna. There we go. I'm gonna take my... You know what? I'm not gonna drink water. I'm gonna drink this. There we go. Hello? Don't you dare lurk! Thank you for the lurk, Anna. Alright, I'm gonna try the bindings first. Erica, this game is amazing. It's hard in a good way, but it's so good. You know what? Fuck. No, I'm not gonna remove my nail. It's gonna take forever. This game is really, really nice. It's cute. It's really nice. I really... Fuck me, wait. What's going on with my phone, dude? Stop. The fuck? My phone is acting out. No! Holy shit, snooze fest? I agree. I totally agree. I agree 100. Wait, where's your babies? I love this game, like to pieces. Kessler redeemed and bought it to me, and if you don't get any redemptions, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a horror game instead. But I realized that some people, like, since I play a variety of content, I can't keep doing Pantheon 5. However, I will be doing it on my free time because I really want to beat Pantheon. So it's really fun. Fucking dick, stop. Fuck! Dude, I wasted it. Can you die already, dude? Thank you. Oh, this is so much more now. Holy shit, okay. I'm a dumbass. Why didn't I? That was stupid. That was immensely stupid. What the fuck? Oh! Why did I do that? Bitch, you're nothing. Oh! Oh my life! No, no, no. There we go. That was stupid. That mistake could have cost me a lot. There we go. And the music to this game is also like superior to everything. Fuck you, dude. No! I did it again. Why? So if you're considering to get this game, like if you can afford it, the game is definitely worth it. Or maybe you can find it for cheaper too, through like cdkeys.com or anything. What the hell? That was the first time. He has never changed. Oh, he's never changed directions before. What? Can you die? Thank you. Don't shot me. Don't hegala me. Oh, that was close. Excuse you? What the f— Edino. Oh my god, what am I doing? Thank you, Cartoons. Thank you for the lurk, brother. There we go. What the dumbass? Oh my life. What the f— Oh, wow, my— Stop! I'm not gonna die here. Or maybe I am. Fuck. No! I'm not paying attention. I am not paying attention. let's try the long one. Let's try the long version here. Goth is relative to Cupbros? You mean Cuphead? Wait. Muckworm! Muckworm is an expert on all of these things. If Muckworms is still here, like, I don't consider it similar, but Muckworm is more the expert on this subject matter. What would you consider this in Cuphead equivalent? Yeah, okay, yo, that's important to point out. So this game, what the controls, dude, it did it again. Yeah, both are platformers-ish. Dude, what the fuck? Pantheon, I would definitely say is like Cuphead. I mean, no, Cuphead has maps though, Muckworm. But yeah, I can, when you say it like that, I can see that's how you mean, Erica. Why did I do that? I missed. So this is gonna take forever to kill, by the way, because I just handicapped myself. Are you kidding me? Why are my cousins spamming me, dude? What the fuck? Hold on, let me... What are they doing? Yeah, but I'm doing it because you guys said it would be needed. Oh my god, these pieces of shit are spamming me. I mean, honest, they're not spamming me, but... Dude, it's insane how much damage the upward thrust does. Wait, do I have an iframe when I do that, Muckworm? Wow, I'm sleeping, dude. I'm sleeping. Dude, why are they riding me? Hello? being a fucking coward? You have this for Descending Dark Shore. There's a funny mod which enables all the bindings for the whole game. Fuck, dude, that sounds insane. What? Nope. He never changed ways for me before. He's doing that twice now. What? Oh, oh my god. At least soul damage is intact. With soul damage, if I don't solely rely on melee damage, I think it takes longer. The music is so good, dog. Like I can't even. Oh, that was close. Can you die, dude? Dude, I saw some videos for Silk Song earlier. They were so beautiful. You little bitch. And that was really, really cool. Are pretty useful for all bindings. Yeah. I was thinking that. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Dude, he get pushed up so hard. There we go. We're getting somewhere. How do? How? How? Fuck me. There we go. Okay, good, good, good. Good progress. I think, according to me, this is good progress. And I don't know about you guys. Oh my god! Not having long ale does a lot. I shouldn't have not have gotten hit the first and the second time though. No! Alright, good. Fuck. Shit, dude. I hate this guy so much. God. I'm thinking about keeping the charms. I hate that guy. He's probably, for me, the most annoying boss I've fought, like, so far. Without the shadow of a doubt. Wait, I can do one binding at a time? What does that mean, Makworm? So I don't have to do all bindings to get these shells. So I can do this and get the rest. If I do this, will I get three extra life? And then I can reactivate all 3 and have the charm one, and we'll get the 4th one? Really? Fuck that. Let's try. No, not like that. Okay. Fuck it. Okay, let's see what you mean here. Down here. This door. This door. So this is 4 bindings, right? And this is 4 bindings again, and then this is 4 another bindings, right? That's what you mean. Am I correct? So I can do this. Okay, let's try this. Mainly with the charm, because with long nail, this shit is such a coward, dude. What the? Fuck me! Did you stop, brother? That's one. Fuck me, I ran the wrong way. Be able to actually... That is so much faster. That is so much faster. Look at this. It's not even funny. Nope. Do you see this shit? Wow, dude. That is so legit, so much faster. Thank you. Wow, so much faster, dude. Fuck me. Worth it. Oh my god! Oh my! I pressed the wrong button, dude! Why did I do that? It's insane. Yeah, exactly. This is just the long series of bosses. Stop on you. Why did I walk into that one? What the fuck? Yeah, it's funny. Show your punk ass face. I hate this fucker. It's so much faster, dude. Hey, bitch, remember me? Not even a challenge. There we go. Yeah, Limbo is amazing. It's also one of the most aesthetically pleasing games. How did you hit me, you dick? I hate this boss so much! Fuck it, I'm doing Pantheon. I'm doing the 5. That boss... I hate that boss so much. He's so annoying. I realize I shouldn't be hit by neither. But still. I got pretty far without binding though last time, so I'm thinking maybe we could be able to do this again. No! What the fuck, dude? What's with the control? Thank you. There we go. No iframes. No iframes confirmed. Let me tell you that much. No iframes. Dude, that trick that Goff told me about is so fucking good, it's not even funny. It does so much. Hold on. They are. Like, you should see the rest of the bosses. If you Google them, it's so good. Like, all of them. That's why the people are waiting for the second game so impatiently. And they're like, oh, it's never coming out. But, like, and the best part is the studio isn't... There are only that many persons, you know? There are not many. fucking dick. So it's, you'll see them and it's super good.
Purado Viscalahu, Nada Viscalak.
No, you fucking twat! But yeah, the boss designs are mwah. The whole game is beautiful. Why am I? I love my charms. I fucking love my charms. Fuck me. That was dumb. Sorry for being quiet and concentrated like that. You know, I gotta kill him. Fucking Malek, dude! Did I ever mention how much I hate this boss? I hope I did. There we go. Oh, I hate this boss so much. Okay, the brothers are coming right now. And that is important. Give me 2 seconds, guys. There we go.
Yes,
Oh, you caught the Ratata. No, why did I do that? Fuck me. Oh god. No! Why am I doing this? that's better, dude. I mean, I don't know how old this game is, but I think this maybe shouldn't be. And Furbrim Cloaks isn't... I would definitely not say it's Game of Thrones. It's older, isn't it? Furbrim? Fuck you. Why? Why? Why am I doing this? I did it again. It's like I want to get hit. What the fuck, Orion? Stop. Oh, I never thought of those. I never thought of those. Crossband over. I thought it was you meant to just defer. Okay, that did not work as intended. Huh, it worked. Why? I want to know why. Why do you hate them? For what reason are Hi Pyro, what's up? How are you doing? How's your Monday, Pyro? Why am I doing what I'm doing? It looks aesthetically pleasing for some, I guess, and we know, I mean, aesthetically pleasing is enough for some people. I think, I don't know why, but I think that these bosses, for some reason, thinks, I just jumped into that one, of something you'd like, design-wise. Oh. Shit, fuck. How did you hit me, you dick? Okay, that one I can buy. Bah! There we go. I don't know. I don't know, Kamashi. I've asked myself those kind of questions for a while now, and Twitter marked like this next tweet that you're gonna view could be inappropriate. I was like, okay, and then I look at it, and it's a picture of a man saying "lol." No. You're cute, but I hate you. This is the boss I felt the worst about killing. I felt so bad for this. What? Really? I never had that problem with Discord. Piece of shit. I never had that problem with Discord. Why don't you just enable it in the Discord server though? Like, hello? Well, what? He never had two before. What? He never had two before. What the shit? My filter's off. That's probably why they have that. Like, they probably have that off for that reason. I mean, on for that reason, because they're afraid of that thing in particular. Why should I turn it on? I'm not gonna turn it on.
Yes.
Fuck me. No, god damn it, dumbass. Oh my god. Just curious? No, I don't wanna. But it's so easy to circumvent bots though. People are so afraid of those things. So I'm in a Discord server where one of the admins like have like, oh, two-factor authentication. Oh no! And there is no reason for it because Discord has its own protection, like the 2FA and stuff like that. Yeah, sure, you can bypass that, but I still have to give you a role for you to be able to do anything. And I had that ever since we had a Nazi on board. Like, it's not that hard. Like, it's super not that hard. If you're a big server, you need to have more mods. And if you need to have more mods, you have more people that can engage. Crap. I'm just being sloppy right now. What am I doing? Dude, what the fuck? Yeah, but it's so easy to circumvent that. I don't understand why people don't do that. Yeah, but what I mean is, it's so easy because what you do is you just enable two-factor authentication, or enable like every person like invite only or whatever. I kicked that guy out of my Discord recently, and that was because. So listen to this. This is super interesting. So the guy got in my Discord. I've never seen the guy anywhere. He doesn't have no mutual friends. There's no mutual Discords, right? That's the thing. So I asked the guy, like, okay, dude, how did you get into this Discord? Like, how did you find my Discord? And he's like, oh, through your stream. I was like, I've never seen you in the stream. And he's acting up, right? He's acting a lot. So I asked the guy again, like, dude, how do you, but like, dude, I've never seen you. I'm going to ask you again because I want to keep my people here safe, right? And this guy says, I play with people on your Discord. I was like, who? And he doesn't answer. And I told him, like, dude, if you don't answer me, I'm gonna kick you out of the Discord. Like, you're not. Why are you not, like? How hard is it to tell me who it is? And he just says, okay. That's all he literally says. So I was like, dude, just tell me and it will be nice. And he's like, no. So I kicked him out. And then I found that he had messaged one of my mutuals to join another Discord, which was even more screwy. Like, I was like, dude, be careful of that dude because I don't trust that dude. He was so, people are so fucking weird, dude. Do you hear the music change, by the way? I hate this boss, but I love that about him. The music change is so fucking heckin' good on this one. Oh, I hate this boss. Fuck off. Oh, I keep forgetting what he's about. Oh, you have Seattle by Night? Is that what you have? So it's an RPG server. Are there a lot of dark Batman nights? You know what I mean. No, really? Mind-side theater. Ugh. I hate Mind-side theater with a fucking passion. No! Like, people are allowed to like it, but I can't stand it. It's supposed to be easy. They're making it hard. Why did I not know? What the? The drama of this guy? You mean this guy? Yeah. He's a drama guy. You son of a bitch! Why are you being a bitch? Toreador? I would more likely set him as a Siniche or no, maybe a Sabat Toreador. That could work too.
Morang. Kolotona.
Fuck you, dude! Can you die? Fuck off. Stop being greedy, Pyro. Now here's a boss that we can... Why? Fuck! I didn't see it. Oh my god, that's my life. Oh yeah. What? Ooh. Nope. Why am I doing this, dude? Why am I doing these fuck ups? Ah! There we go. I like this boss variation off right now. There we go. A lot easier. Thank you. Die. Okay. Oh. See, this guy's gonna be interesting. Not because he's tough, but because he's a dick. Okay. I need to breathe for this one. All right, here. All right, let's go. This guy, Erica. Fuck me. Wait, what? Why isn't he not doing his... There it is. Fuck off, you monkey balls. He only had two phases, right? God fucking damn it. No! No, dude, why? Yeah, I figured you liked him. Why am I not paying attention? How many bosses have I beaten so far? Is anyone counting? Yeah. Okay, good. My second time fighting this guy. Fuck you. Fuck you. I fucking dashed, dude. No, not everyone. Just some of them have run too. Inclusive of this fucker right here. Golf absolutely hate this boss. This is the creepiest boss if you ask me. Yeah, exactly. That's why I find this boss the absolute creepiest. Nah, god damn it. I shouldn't be hit by him at all. I can imagine. I can totally fucking imagine, dude. Now the real thing stuff. Why did I get hit by him? Oh my god, I dashed the wrong way. What? What am I doing, dude? What the fuck? Oh my god. That was so close. Yeah, I did. But that was screw up, Pyro. However, this is only I'm just gonna point it out. So this is gonna be the only Pantheon 5 we do today, because I figured out, like, sure, I want to do Pantheon 5, but I'm probably gonna do it off stream because I don't want to spend like a couple of times just doing Pantheon 5, you know? That's what I think. I mean, it is Pooh. He's the dung defender. He's a dung beetle. He's a dung beetle. So, you know. I'm sorry, I just need to stretch my hands. Want to watch the lore video? Yeah, why not? Yeah, exactly. That's the one I have. I used that one for a while. But I realized that I've been very fuck. Bad in using soul, you know? I should be using more soul. Fuck me, dumbass. Why are you being such a dick? Fuck. Fuck. Oh my god, what am I doing? Nope. Oh, oh my life! Dude, that pyro, that's mean. She doesn't have Pokemon. Okay, part 2. No, wait. I forgot that I had to tighten this today. What the fuck? Why is this microphone? No, wait. Guys, wait. Hold on. What's with you today? Why are you acting up? Hello? Can you stop? Can you not? Hello? Why is it doing this? Guys, wait. I need to fix this. This is so annoying. What do you mean cat paws? There's no cat here. Wait, I need to fix this. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds, guys. The arm is being a dick. What are you guys doing with my cat? Who's kitty abusing? That one's so small. This one's too small. There we fucking go. Stop being a dick. Sorry. Yeah, the microphone. The microphone stand arm is more correct. The microphone arm is more correct. Technomancy? I mean, I always talk to technology. I don't know about you guys. I always talk to technology.
Sorrow.
Yeah, what? It does sound like he said bring back Sauron.
Veil, man.
No, 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 no. Doesn't it? Fuck. I forgot what this was. Diamond ball. No! Why am I fucking up at this boss? There we go. Fuck you. See, now the hard part starts. Shit. There we go. Being more aggressive on this boss is actually the actual fucking answer. That's what I found. He's saying NGK, isn't it? Here. This is NGK, isn't it? Fuck. The thing is, I always forget his moveset. That's the thing with him. That's the thing. I always forget his moveset. I'm trying to remember. But I gotta say, this has been super fast so far on Pantheon 5. Like, I don't think we've ever completed Pantheon, come to this part in Pantheon 5 this fast. I don't think that's ever happened before. It's been super, super fast, for me at least. I'm trying to remember his moveset. So when he dashes, he has the fire. When he throws out bats, he has more bats, if I'm not mistaken, and he has the fire up. Then he has the second phase when the fire is coming from the ground. His dash, he's not free hits unless I go to the way he's doing it. No, I don't play this. I'm playing this like this. Dash, beam attacks. Which one is the beam attack? Spikes attack. The spikes attack I remember. Which one is the beam attack? Muckworm plays this with a mouse and keyboard because he's insane. Four beams and staying in one place. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I remember. But I can't remember how many the bat attack. It deals double damage, yeah. Fuck me. See, that's the thing I don't remember about the fucking bat. What? Oh, I didn't pay attention. Fuck. Yeah, I figured. I'm gonna do the Pantheon 5, but I'm not gonna do it in the stream. Because this is gonna take too long. And I'm gonna get tired, and I don't wanna get tired. Alright, let me take a quick break. And throw... Yeah, but that's the thing. So let me do a little poll for you guys so we can choose what we can play. He's fun, I'm not gonna lie. There we go, guys. I'll start a little poll here. But we're gonna watch the lower videos as you suggested, Macworm. That is a really, really good idea. And allow me to BRB real quick. And I'll come back in a second. Need to do the bathroom and clean up here a little bit. Alright, guys. See you in a bit.
Thanks to you, my chat is great. Like, people in chat is saying, like, what went that where I can. We're gonna start a fucking trend. Fuck. I saw. I know who it is. I know who it is. I did not. Yes, you did. No, you did not.
Where was the body?
You killed Dingus, dude.
He's separate.
No. No, you jumped out the vent and you jumped.
Kick me off the next one.
You literally jumped off the vent, then you jumped up, and then yeah.
You know how it. I know it's him because he's just turning being so.
No, because you went for me and I saw it was you.
Just water.
I found the body because he jumped off the vent and I was jumping down. No, then I saw him.
You're so cute. Who are you guys voting for?
I'm voting for Noodle. Where? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Drowned herself. No, she's Kamala Khan. She's Miss Marvel.
There are three.
Wow.
Oh.
Fuck.
Look at this cat comes in and slaps him, brother. Yo. Hi, Roars. Holy shit, 11 votes for Blood Hunt? Is that you, Kava? Is that you, Kava? Of course it is. Holy shit. Are you gonna play with me then? Seven is mine? Who the fuck spent the other 4? You voted Blood Hunt? Alright. Let's watch this. 1 hour? I can't watch 1 hour of this muckworm. No shit, dude.
If you were to ask me, what is your favorite video game ever made?
Don't
Hollow
care.
Knight would be a close teen by Team over 3.5 patches. Team lend to this as well, creating an immersion. Watch to know, Super Metroid is basically
This is about. I don't care about.
You can sense the ancient history of the land. Hollow Knight turns Hallownest into a living kingdom. You can sense the. Except those reasons aren't the easy the game randomly. There's a reason for it all. Except those reasons aren't the easiest to uncover.
I
Hollow
haven't
Knight's
been in
narrative
that
is
room.
buried under layers of NPC dialogue, item descriptions, lore tablets, and even additional content like the Quarrel comic and Fangamer's Wanderer's Journal. These past 3 years have seen an insane amount of research by the Hollow Knight community to make sense of Team Cherry's sprawling world. We've
Oh,
even made it
don't
to
tell
the
me
point
they're
where
doing the
people
Dark
are
Souls
looking at
bullshit.
the in-game signs to try and decipher Hallownest's logographic language. In this video, I hope to give you a long and detailed look into the world of Hollow Knight.
They're doing the.
exploring
Are they
Hallownest's
doing the
history
Dark
and
Souls
uncertain
bullshit?
future. When I'm not busy making surprisingly accurate, beloved
I don't
expert,
care.
I highly recommend Hollow Knight's lore.
I
Domino's
don't
big
care.
lore of Hollow Knight. God, be that technology. It's a simple fact of G's, or in rare cases,
Because
God.
that turns me off.
As it turns out, the bugs in Hallownest pretty much operate in the same way. From the Mosskin born from the dream of a giant slug, to the emo kids of the ancient civilization who literally worship the darkness, there is no shortage of things to worship in the world of Hollow Knight. Our story begins with a creature very much worthy of worship. A creature born from the carcass of a worm. The carcass can still be found in the Kingdom's Edge, and
But
it's our
like,
only good look at what
I
worms actually
detest the
look like.
Dark Soul thing.
At the
you know?
time Hollow Knight occurs, it is suggested there are no worms left in the world. They were incredibly long creatures that featured little to no limbs. Another more mysterious property of worms was that they had some kind of prescience or foresight. Basically, they could see the future to some capacity. It isn't clear how effective this ability was. Considering how the entire race went extinct, this foresight ability must have been pretty shit. Getting back to this particular worm carcass, it is explained that this worm traveled across the distant mountains and wastelands beyond Hallownest. Once it arrived in Hallownest, the worm died. Except not really. Inside the maw of the carcass sits a pale broken egg, out of which hatched a new form of worm, a being of meager shell. This form of the worm is usually referred to as the Pale King, and he's the character basically responsible for everything that happens in Hollow Knight.
So
The Pale King is a higher
is
being,
he?
a type of creature that exists above all others. His body was said to shine with a radiant visage that harmed those who looked upon him. The ultimate goal of the Pale King seemed to be in line with that of other worms. A line from the cryptic Mr. Mushroom reads, "Worms pull bugs into their thrall, till ages pass and kingdoms fall." In other words, it's just in their nature. Dogs wag their tails, cats bury their shit, and worms bring massive amounts of bugs into their service in order to form long-standing kingdoms and civilizations.
Okay.
And
So
here in a far
the
corner
king
of the
is a
world,
worm thing?
The Pale King emerged from the corpse of his former self and began to build his eternal kingdom, Hallownest. There's just one slight problem. There's like people already living there. The area that would eventually become Hallownest was already filled with mantises, bees, moths, spiders, mushrooms, and bush cosplayers. Each of
Bush
these groups were
cosplayer.
already operating with their own cultures and societies, and each group had a different interaction with the Pale King. One of the more receptive groups to the arrival of the Pale King were the mushrooms of the fungal wastes. These creatures were able to communicate with one another through one shared mind. The mushrooms viewed this shared mind as a strength, and they were kind of smug dickheads about it. Ultimately, the mushrooms wearily accepted the Pale King's rule, viewing his foresight as a shield to the dangers of the future. Another group living in the fungal wastes is the Mantis tribe. The Mantises have a rich cultural history reaching back to long before the birth of Hallownest. The Mantises are a proud tribe, believing in the importance of proving one's physical strength. The
Alright.
Mantises are fiercely territorial, but will show respect to those who display great power. These Fight Club enthusiasts were led by 4 powerful Mantis Lords, who I guess just kind of sat around waiting for outsiders to challenge them. The Mantis tribe had no interest in the Pale King's kingdom, but the two communities did come to a truce. In exchange for their independence from Hallownest, the Mantis tribe kept the beasts of Deep Nest from invading Hallownest. Not sure why they didn't just go out the other exits from Deep Nest, but whatever. I'm not an expert on border patrol. I don't work at ICE anymore. Let's move on to Deep Nest. Now, many of the different tribes of Hallownest were kind enough to leave lore tablets behind, detailing pretty much everything we need to know about them. Unfortunately, the bugs of Deep Nest didn't do that. We know that the spiders of Deep Nest had a monarchy because why not? Those are always good, right? Also, within Deep Nest are a separate group of spiders that immigrated to Deep Nest at some point in the past. This group was known as the Weavers, and they established their own culture and history within Deep Nest.
I want to know
They
what
used
happened to
looms of
the
silk
Weaver
weave
I saw.
stories, spells, and shields. One thing we know for sure about Deep Nest is that they really didn't want anything to do with Hallownest. The struggles of Deep Nest-Hallownest relations would become painfully clear as time goes on, but for right now, it seems like the two remain fairly isolated from one another. Another section of pre-Hallownest includes Green Path. Now, as far as we can tell, the mushrooms, mantises, and spiders of Deep Nest didn't worship any higher beings. There is this giant mushroom corpse in the fungal core, but I don't think this is a higher being. I mean, who the hell would want to worship a fat-ass mushroom? Fat-ass slugs? Now that's dope. The land we know as Green Path was created by the higher being known as Un. Un used her great mind to dream the vegetation of Green Path into the once barren caverns. Un's
But Un
followers,
was the
Mosskin,
slug, wasn't
were
it?
also born out of Un's dream, making her their creator. Green Path at its height was actually much larger than we see in game. At one point, Green Path stretched into both modern-day Queen's Garden and possibly Fog Canyon. Green Path's citizens showed themselves to be a fairly developed society.
Yeah.
They built a temple at the Lake of Un in order to worship her, and they even had their own line of defense, with Moss Knights showing proficiency in combat, using nails and shells as weapons. The Law of Un continued to remain in effect even after the Pale King arrived, but it seems like they allowed the king to establish a road through their lands, leading travelers to the heart of Hallownest.
Cool.
Hence the name Green Path. Yeah, Team Cherry really racked their brains when naming this area, didn't they? Next, we have the
But
bees.
is
And while
this
there is no
actual
lore on how
lore,
these bees can
Macworm,
turn
or is
into
this
fucking
things
drills,
that
or how they
people
can
made
ignore all
up?
known laws of aviation? We do know how they reacted
Because
to the
what
Pale
he
King.
says,
These bugs
makes
decided
like
to
they
seal their
made it
hive
up.
off from the rest of the world, with only patrol bees being able to enter and exit the hive. So yeah, the bees are pretty much pointless in this story. And finally, we have the Moth tribe. In-game, the only moth settlement is in the resting grounds.
Yeah,
the
but
tribe might have also
if it
inhabited
doesn't
the
come
Crystal
from
Peak at one
if it
point.
doesn't come from Team
Now, as
Cherry,
we all know,
it's
moths in real life
speculation.
are just complete assholes. As for the
That's
moths
what
in
I'm
Hollow
saying.
Knight, well, it's a bit complicated. The moth race is described as being a rather pacifist group, with few ever choosing to take up a weapon. During the Pale King's reign, the moth race delved amongst dreams and the dead, displaying the importance of remembering those who have passed, as well as learning how to shape dreams themselves. Similar to the Mosskin, the Moth tribe was born from a higher being known as the Radiance. The Radiance is described as being a light in which the Moth tribe basked, so she was basically a giant lamp to them. Another important aspect about the Radiance is her ties to dreams and a substance known as Essence. Essence are the remains of wishes and dreams, and are represented in-game by these Dreamcatcher particle effects. Essence can take the form of whispering roots,
But
as well as
that's
dream
what
ghosts,
people said about
both of which are
Dark
memories
Souls,
taking
and then
root
it turns
in the
out Dark
world.
Souls they were wrong.
The Radiance appears to be a creature made of essence, but she isn't the only higher being to give off essence. Un has green particles, the Pale King has gray particles, and this sexy character named Grim gives off fiery red particles. However, the Radiance appears to be the main god when it comes to dreams, even if other gods also dabble in the dream realm. Getting back to the Moth tribe, it is their interaction with the Pale King that we need to discuss. Basically, the Moths turned their backs on the Radiance completely in order to worship the new light that had appeared, the Pale King's light. So yeah, Moths are assholes in this game too. With her tribe forsaking her, the Radiance became a forgotten memory, a remnant of the past, and a thing that's definitely not going to come up again later in this video. And so the Pale King's new kingdom was established, Hallownest. But there is one aspect of Hallownest that we need to discuss. Unfortunately, to better understand this, we're going to have to read some poetry. Basic feature. The poem appears much at the beginning of every playthrough, and hints at what the Pale King and his kingdom offered. Much of the land outside of Hallownest appears to be a wasteland, where bugs survive off of instinct, without the burden of mind. Hallownest somehow taught these bugs and tamed their savagery. Basically, the Pale King changed the instincts of his subjects and granted them higher thought. To get a better picture of this, let's look at two different characters, Boone and Tuck. These adorable panda bug things give us a clear display of Hallownest's effect.
Have I met these guys?
While both appear to be the same species of bug, Boone is dumb as a sack of rocks, struggling to string together words, while Tuck speaks fairly clearly. The main difference between these two characters is that while Boone lives outside of Hallownest, Tuck lives beneath the city's capital. Basically, it appears as though Hallownest is a literal holy ground that raises the intelligence of those who dwell within. The Pale King established a path, starting from the kingdom's entrance in King's Pass, winding through Greenpath and the fungal wastes, and finally ending at the massive capital at Hallownest's heart. We now know the capital city as the City of Tears, but that was likely not its original name. The rain that falls down onto the city from the blue lake above didn't begin until after the kingdom collapsed. So unless the capital was originally named by some edgy literature student, the name City of Tears wouldn't have made much sense. The king's motivation for all this appears to have been his desire to be worshipped. The citizens of Hallownest believe that the Pale King created the world and everything in it. Shrines to the king can be found scattered throughout the kingdom, and king's idols were created and distributed to followers of the king. Despite the worship, the Pale King often kept himself hidden from his subjects, possibly to hide his blemishes. I mean, if you look at the size of the real Pale King to his statue in the ancient basin, the man is clearly overcompensating. The Pale King's White Palace was also built underneath the city, separating him from his subjects even more so. At the same time, certain powers became shunned in Hallownest, though we don't know for sure if the Pale King had anything to do with this. Lifeblood is a blue liquidy substance that leaves those who drink it feeling refreshed. However, the use of lifeblood was seen as a taboo, and those who used it were demonized as heretics. The use of soul for combat was also shunned. Soul is a sort of life force in Hollow Knight that animates the bodies of living creatures. But some characters are able to control the soul of others to conjure powerful spirits. But aside from a few exceptions, no citizens of Hallownest ever used this power. However, the Pale King didn't rule alone. There was another higher being in the mix, a being known as the White Lady.
I met her.
The White Lady is a weird brute-like being that can be found in the modern-day Queen's Gardens. She is encased in a strange cocoon, and we know very little about her. With as much exposition we get for the Pale King, there is next to nothing on the White Lady. But one thing we do know is that she likes to breed. Like, a lot. The White Lady would often retreat to the Queen's Gardens, an area of land once controlled by the Mosskin. How exactly she walked around and actually went places is a lore question too deep for even my expertise. The White Lady is also known as a pale being, along with the Pale King. What exactly are pale beings? Well, we don't know for sure, but they seem to stand out even amongst higher beings, as being even more powerful. I know that's a little confusing, so let's try using an example. I'd say that regular higher beings are like a TP Link Archer C7
This
AC
video is
1750
bad, Macworm.
wireless
He's not even
dual band
funny.
AX6, a bit of an industrial revolution. He ordered the construction of the stagways, which were used to transport passengers and goods.
He's
The
trying to
forgotten
be funny, but he's
crossroads and
not.
the storerooms above the City of Tears were used to store goods that traveled along these stagways. The king also ordered the construction of the tramways, because literally no one is safe from the threat of automation. A tram was built between the Forgotten Crossroads and the resting grounds. A second tram was built from the kingdom's edge across the ancient basin over to Deep Nest. And then a third tram was started in Deep Nest and attempted to go further into Deep Nest. Not sure how useful that would have been to the bugs of Hallownest, but whatever. The Pale King's a smart guy, I'm not gonna question him. But anyway, the Pale King's super smart plan to build a tram in Deep Nest ended up getting a few of his tram workers killed. The bugs of Deep Nest rejected the Pale King's attempt to build a tram in their territory, further cementing the poor relations shared between the two groups. Aside from convenient fast travel, regular pathways were also used to cart goods around the kingdom. From this was born
Okay.
probably one of the most important groups in Hallownest, and perhaps even all of fiction. An elusive guild of bugs, simply known as the Menderbugs, took to maintaining the various signs scattered throughout Hallownest. From the journal entry of one Menderbug, we can catch a glimpse into their ancient and unknowable minds.
Dear, dear diary, isn't life just the most beautiful thing? Fixing signs, mending posts, let them break, I say. I'm a better mender for all that repairing.
This area is filled with crystals that grow
not
rapidly
I'm having a
along
hard time with
walls,
this video.
ceilings, and even the shells of certain bugs. These crystals were considered valuable to the bugs of Hallownest, resulting in large-scale mining efforts. We don't actually see the crystals used anywhere else in Hallownest, but they are said to contain a sort of energy. The crystals are also said to sing, if you listen very carefully.
No, but it's interesting, but...
Military, Hallownest's first line of defense appeared to be a group simply known as the Five Great Knights.
Oh, this
The
is
members
good. I
of
want
this
to know.
esteemed coalition were Ogrim, Hagamol, Zamir, Drya, and Isma. For being so important, most of the information about
So
these
there's
knights
only two
has
alive.
been lost to time. Ogrim is the knight we know the most about, since he is one of the few knights still alive during the events of the game. Ogrim expressed a great amount of loyalty towards the king, and he maybe had something going on with Isma, but we really don't know. Hagamol was known for his sense of humor and his soft-spoken voice.
Because I don't
But
think
at the same
what
time,
combat to do.
he was also dummy thick. Mysterious Samir arrived
I
in
don't think
Hallownest
that
from a
they
serene land,
invented a language for
bringing
the
with her a
game.
collection of delicate
You understand what I'm
flowers.
saying? That's
At
why
some point, she also got
I'm
into a relationship with a mantis, but not just any mantis.
skeptical.
A daughter of one of the mantis lords. So yeah, it seems like these great knights were slaying
But
in
the
more ways
runes,
than
you say
one.
they decipher the
All
runes.
we really know about Drya is that she was fierce, caring, and wise. As for Isma, she was
That's a
described
lot
as
of dead
being
mantises.
kind. She also appears to be some sort of weird plant life form, but there's no information on where she's from or what her powers were. The Five Great Knights play an important role in the Champion's Call, the Knotted Grove, and the Battle of the Black Worm. We have no idea what these events were or how they affected Hallownest, but they sound cool nonetheless. During Hallownest's reign, there was another strange area that seemed to exist separate from the Pale King's rule. Carved out of the corpse of an ancient bug, an area called the Colosseum of Fools was constructed, and it was a destination for warriors from outside Hallownest. The sole purpose for fighting in the Colosseum appeared to be simply for glory, with a mysterious figure known as the Lord Fool overseeing the combat. We don't know when the Colosseum was constructed or if the Pale King was involved, but one of his servants, the Pale Lurker, became a champion in the Colosseum, perhaps indicating the Pale King's approval. And finally, there was the Royal Waterways, where the fecal excrement of the kingdom was washed out into the fungal wastes. This area saw the rise of a species of parasite-like creatures called the flukes.
These are disgusting ones.
The flukes spawned from the fluke marm, a giant monster with cavities in which tinier flukes live. There really isn't too much lore involved with the flukes, but I do need to point out that the fluke marm is canonically a MILF. Like, that's not even debatable. The sky is blue, 2 + 2 = Hallownest at its height. Hallownest was a vast kingdom connected by a network of stacks, engaged in commerce using Geo, the de facto currency of the region, and a thriving capital located in the middle of the kingdom. The Pale King had succeeded in crafting a full, as the suspiciously knowledgeable Hunter points out in his journal, the Pale King had created a population of weak and pathetic creatures. The bugs of Hallownest did not hunt for their own food and had become complacent with their comfort. This is even more obvious with the
If he becomes a bug later, maybe he builds them to eat as many as possible to become a bug again. That's possible.
east wing of the capital. These greedy members of Hallownest's high society became complete cowards, obsessed with riches and plum from excess wealth. The bugs living in Hallownest Prime looked quite different than the instinctive simpletons they once were. Their savagery had been replaced with
Because I don't
intelligence,
understand
and
the
through that
huge
intellect,
worm
they gave the
thing.
Pale King the devotion and service he desired. And while there were a few snags along the way, they were shining times for the king and his subjects. Resting at the
Combat,
threshold
what do
of
you want?
Hallownest is a strange lore tablet, proclaiming Hallownest to be the last and only civilization. It calls Hallownest an eternal kingdom. This appears to have been the Pale King's goal, for Hallownest to stand against a wasted world as a final beacon for civilization. And that was the Pale King's ultimate folly, to think that he could succeed where so many others had failed before. Long before the Pale Kings or the Barry Bensons of the world, the land of Hallownest was controlled by an ancient caste. Hints of Hallownest's history are littered throughout the land, with the most notable examples being the soul totems and arcane eggs. One sect of these ancient bugs didn't worship a god like the Pale King or any lord, but instead a dark and mysterious substance known as the Void. This ancient caste
He's still
once
at
also
work?
tried to lay claim
Is
to
that
the
why he's
entire
whining?
land of Hallownest, but they too failed. In his quest to conquer all of Hallownest, the Pale King had made an enemy long forgotten, an enemy that was about to be remembered.
This I really
mentioned
like
earlier
the
that Moth
radiance.
tribe entirely
Like,
forgot about the
it's
Radiance
mad 'cause-
in order to worship the Pale King.
it's
that isn't
mad
quite
because it
true.
got forgotten.
Memories of her still lingered, and hushed whispers of faith kept the Radiance alive. At the summit of the Crystal Peak, a location known as Hallownest Crown, a strange collection of glyphs can be found. Joining these glyphs is a statue of the Radiance, presiding over the kingdom below. This old summit is the sole standing shrine left to the Radiance. This was built in order to keep the memory of the Radiance alive. The Radiance's light began to appear in the dreams of Hallownest citizens. This light manifested itself in an infection that ravaged through the kingdom's tunnels. Those infected would fall into a deep sleep and awaken with broken minds. Some of the lesser bugs tried to resist the Radiance's
Thank you
light,
for the lurk, Speedy.
which only resulted in them being consumed by it even more so. Many infected bugs lost their wills and began attacking bugs that weren't infected. The infection also twisted the bodies of its hosts, causing them to bloat and occasionally develop orange cysts on their bodies. For many victims, they were reverted back to their basic instincts, carrying out the duties they once fulfilled in life, but now as mindless slaves.
Ow.
Those caught up in the infection were linked into the Radiance's hive mind,
All day,
allowing
every
her to
day.
control their bodies if needed. As the infection spread across Hallownest, many groups looked to solutions to fight off the Radiance's light. The gates to the City of Tears were closed in an attempt to keep the infection from reaching the city. The stagways were also shut down at some point, and many of the stags eventually died out, but some took more proactive efforts against the infection. The scholars of the Soul Sanctum decided to harness the power of Soul in an attempt to fight the infection. This resulted in the deaths of hundreds of bugs, whose souls were sucked out and injected into the bodies of the scholars. Their goal was to achieve some kind of pure focus, which would somehow protect them from plagues of the mind. The scholars' leader,
Don't worry
the Soul
about it.
Master, was driven mad by the sheer power of Soul, and his entire sect failed to avoid infection. But hey, at least they took as many innocent people down with them as they could. The Mantis tribe, showing a stronger
Yeah,
will than
after
the common
this,
bug,
we're gonna do.
were able to stave off the infection. However,
you wanna play
one
Blood
of the
Hunt?
4 Mantis Lords turned against his sisters. He and his followers took in the infection willingly, as it gave them more strength and courage. At
This
some point
is
during all
why
this,
they
the
turned
Traitor Lord
against
and
him.
his followers were exiled from the Mantis village, eventually taking up residence in the Queen's Gardens. The Traitor Lord's daughter ended up dying at some point. This is the same Mantis that was in a relationship with Zamir, one of the 5 Great Knights. But the
I always thought
Mantises rejected their union because of Zamir's outsideness. As a gamer, this type of prejudice is all too familiar.
Blah blah
And
blah, dude.
Infection The Pale King devised his own scheme. It's completely useless to fight against the infection. The Pale King devised his own scheme. A scheme involving a strange substance known as void. As I mentioned earlier, the Pale King's White Palace was built in an area called the Ancient Basin. But his castle wasn't the only noteworthy thing down there. At the bottom of the Ancient Basin was the entrance to a pit known as the Abyss. Within the Abyss was a lake composed of void. The Pale King realized that this void could be given form, as evidenced by an imprint of such deep within the Abyss, possibly left there by the ancient civilization that predated Hallownest. The Pale King devised a workshop in his palace, where he placed void in armor shells imbued with soul, creating servants known as King's Molds and Wing Molds.
Which ones are
These
those?
void creatures were somehow imprinted with the desire of the Pale King, so that they would serve him. It isn't clear when the Pale King started making
these are the ones?
creatures. There is evidence to imply that even common bugs were aware of King's Molds. But the point is, the Pale King turned to the void in order to create another creature, one that he believed could contain the Radiance and her infection.
The Hollow
He
Knight.
tried to create a pure vessel. The Radiance's infection needs its host to have a will and a mind in order to enslave it. A pure vessel would be a creature made of void designed to lack those features. The Pale King believed that by harnessing the void inside a pure vessel, he would be able to stop the infection and keep Hallownest lasting eternal. But his method for creating this so-called pure vessel was incredibly cruel. This is where the White Lady and her King Kong-sized libido come into play. These two higher beings engaged in a union of some kind, resulting in the creation of several eggs that were dropped down into the abyss. There, the void seeped into these eggs, corrupting the offspring of the Pale King and the White Lady. This act resulted in the creation of the vessels. The vessels are not technically considered to be alive. They are shells created from the Pale King and White Lady that have been
is
filled with
fucked
the
up
void.
though. Let's make babies
Within
that
each
we
vessel is
sacrifice.
a shade, a completely void being hidden behind the face of the vessel. Vessels are also non-gendered, I guess because they're dead or something. I'm not sure if that's how that works, but whatever. I'm not an expert on these kinds of things. Process. But only one was chosen as the pure vessel. This particular vessel, chosen by the Pale King, was deemed the Hollow Knight, and was taken away to the White Palace. But I want to take a bit of a closer look at this part of the story. There are a number of questions and theories surrounding this moment that I really want to dig into. The big question surrounding this moment is, why was the Hollow Knight chosen over any other vessel? One common theory is that the Pale King took these vessels back to the White Palace and evaluated them using his giant collection of buzzsaws. This theory is probably the least likely explanation.
So he means that one of the theories is that the path of pain
which
was
is quite the mystery,
designed
I'll admit,
to
but it
test
doesn't
the
really mesh
vessels.
with the vessels very well. How does being good at Super Meat Boy prove that you are a worthy vessel? And while thinking about logistics in a game
God,
about
are you kidding
magic
me?
bugs,
You didn't tell me about this shit? I could have done
thinking
this.
about logistics in a game about magic bugs is never a good idea.
I
and
could
while
have
thinking-
beat the. Oh my
How does
God,
being good at
dude!
Super
You let
Meat
me
Boy
die
prove
so
that
many
you are a
times here,
worthy
Math Worm.
vessel? And while thinking about logistics in a game about magic of vessels to his palace, without characters like the Dung Defender finding out. So this means that the Pale King probably made his decision without taking any of the vessels out of the abyss.
I'm mad at you, dude.
So how did the Pale King make his evaluation? I think the best explanation comes from a theory I originally heard from a user named Golden Flower Fan. Basically, the vessels were hatched down at the bottom of the abyss, and the first one to make it to the top was chosen by the Pale King. In a memory of this event, we see vessels falling from above back down into the pit of the abyss. Perhaps these vessels weren't being cast down into the abyss, but fell while trying to escape out of it. The lore tablet outside the abyss appears to support this theory. It reads, "Our pure vessel has ascended. Beyond lies only the refuse and regret of its creation. We shall enter that place no longer." This tablet was likely written right after the Hollow Knight was chosen, considering that is when the entrance to the abyss was sealed off. The tablet proclaims that the pure vessel has ascended, or in other words, climbed out of the abyss. And while cut content should never be considered canon, I would just like to point out that an earlier version of this tablet, found in the game's code, was even more explicit about this. It read, "From below, our pure vessel has ascended." But how does making it to the top of the abyss first prove that the Hollow Knight is somehow a perfectly hollow vessel? Well, I think this whole concept might just be a misconception. What if the Hollow Knight wasn't any different from the other vessels? All the vessels were made in the exact same way after all. The idea that the Hollow Knight was somehow more hollow than the other vessels comes from the fact that there were so many vessels created in the first place. If they only needed one, then why create so goddamn many? I mean, this is like Octomom
Look
on
at their horns.
steroids. Well, these are bugs we're talking about, so it would make sense that multiple offspring would come from one egg.
I can buy
And it
that.
might have been a precaution to produce multiple vessels in hopes that at least one would be able to successfully escape the abyss. Now,
I totally
another
buy that.
explanation could be that the Pale King just yeeted other vessels that made it to the top first, after determining that they weren't hollow, which would better explain why so many were created. Ultimately, the exact details aren't super important, but I do find it interesting how many different interpretations can be pulled from this part of the lore. After the Hollow Knight was chosen, the Pale King sealed the doorway to the abyss, leaving the discarded vessels to rot away in darkness. These actions were not taken lightly by the Pale King or the White Lady. Both participants expressed shame in what they did, but saw no other option to save the kingdom. But the vessels weren't the only poor saps sealed away in the abyss. There's also a lighthouse that was built on top of a naturally formed spire, its light shining down on an ocean of abyss below. Inside was one of the Pale King's royal retainers, who was left in charge of keeping the lighthouse turned on. So this brave soul was willingly sealed in a dark and dangerous tomb for the rest of his life, just so he could not pull a lever. Well, at least he was living with purpose. With the abyss sealed and the Hollow Knight chosen,
That was
the
the
Pale
first
King's
funny
plan
joke-
was
joke he's
beginning
done.
to come together. The Hollow Knight was raised and trained to prime form, causing it to grow several times its original size. We don't know exactly why this happened, but I guess the Hollow Knight is just a grower and not a shower. We know that the Hollow Knight was trained to use a nail, but why was this even necessary? One possible explanation is that the Hollow Knight needed to protect itself in case an intruder tried to kill it. You know, like the player. Or perhaps this was important in the process of containing the radiance. Unfortunately, the details of that are never fully explained.
I mean, strength of
The
body,
Hollow
strength
Knight
of
might have
mind.
somehow focused the radiance inside itself, but Team Cherry gives us no explanation of how that might have worked. But that still wasn't enough for the Pale King. Additional seals were needed in order to protect the Hollow Knight's physical body while the radiance was trapped inside of it. To achieve this, the Pale
Yeah, the
King sought the
Dreamer.
help of three particular bugs, who would later be known as the Dreamers: Lurien the Watcher, Motomon the Teacher, and Hera the Beast. Lurien is definitely the most mysterious of the three Dreamers. He lived in the Watcher's Spire in the City of Tears. From there, Lurien watched over the city with his telescope. Lurien was a pretty big fan of the king, so it probably took little convincing for him
Lurien
to
is
lie
not the
down for
mom,
him.
right?
Lurien might also be tied to another strange incident that occurred in the City of Tears. Hidden on some of Lurien's lore tablets are images of jars, the same jars that can be found stockpiled in the Tower of Love. This building sits on the outskirts of the city, and is the setting of one of the most bizarre bosses in the game, the Collector. The Collector is a void construct that appears to have been made from the same mold used to create the King's molds.
Oh.
But the Collector is unique because, well,
Good grief, he's naked!
The Collector stayed in the Tower of Love with a noble bug who likely owned the establishment. In the tower, a number of bugs can be found captured in jars, implying that these two were tasked with collecting these creatures. However, the Collector somehow became obsessed with grubs, creating a map to keep track of grubs it captured in jars, as well as keeping
hate
a
the
strange
Collector.
shrine displaying a grub in the style of the Vitruvian Man. Eventually, the bug staying with the Collector decided to lock it inside the Tower of Love, and fled to the Queen's Gardens, where it died, likely due to overexposure to the void.
Huh.
Despite being locked up in the tower, the Collector is still spotted by the Hunter at some point, which either means this only happened recently, or the Hunter has been farting around in Halonest for a long ass time. We have no idea what these creatures were trying to do. It's implied that the Collector was trying to preserve the creatures of Halonest, perhaps trying to protect them from the spread of the infection, but we don't know where the Collector's obsession with grubs originated. And while Lurien does seem connected to all of this, we don't know how involved he was with this operation, or what its end goal exactly was. Motomon the teacher lived in the teacher's archives, a library built atop a lake of acid in the Fog Canyon. The lower half of her body consists of tentacles, making her a popular subject for the thriving Hollow Knight R34 community.
No.
The archives and the Fog Canyon as a whole are also filled with these strange Metroid knockoffs. These creatures are likely related to Motomon in some way. They could be her live offspring, her test tube babies, or possibly even her shit. Motomon
He
uses
tries to be funny,
cathode
dude.
ray tube things to store information about Hallownest. Several terminals in the teacher's archive go into detail about the Pale King's plan to defeat the Radiants, indicating that Motomon had intimate knowledge of what she was taking part in. Finally, the Pale King sought the help of Hera
But
the
this
Beast,
is
the
interesting
Queen
though,
of
because
Deep
I
Nest.
thought that
Now, as
there
I
were
mentioned
several
earlier,
Hollow
relations between
Knights
Hallownest
coming
and Deep
after
Nest
one
were
another.
kinda
But this indicates
not great. Unlike the other two dreamers,
that there was
Hera
only
needed to
one
be
Hollow Knight
convinced
before
in
us.
order to help the Pale King. Hera would eventually agree to become a dreamer in exchange for a child. The Pale King agreed, and the two engaged in a dalliance, which is a fancy way of saying they totally boned. Was it? The motive behind Hera's request is never elaborated on, but it appears as though the King of Deep Nest was dead at this point. Hera was a common bug, so perhaps she desired the Pale King's pale seed so that her child could be of high birth. The bargain between Hera and the Pale King resulted in the birth of Hornet. She became known as the gendered child because, unlike the Pale King's other children, Hornet was not hollowed out by the Abyss. Hera and Hornet spent little time together, as Hera had to make good on her end of the bargain. And so the three dreamers were put to rest. Through their actions, a seal was placed over the black egg, prohibiting entrance into the chamber. These dreamers also had their own protection. At the base of Lurian's spire, the Watcher Knights guarded access to their master's body. Motomon's body was protected by a giant jellyfish named Umu. On top of this, Motomon entrusted her servant Quirrell with a mask which would be required to break an additional seal she had placed over herself. So she basically is double wrapping herself. As for Hera, we're not really sure what protected her, since it is never actually seen in-game. We don't know where this creature is hiding, but whoever it is, they really suck
What
at their
if that's
job.
the hunter?
Now there appears
Because
to be
he
one
has
more element to the
several of
Pale
those
King's
things.
plan, involving the Weavers. Hidden away in the Weaver's Den is an incomplete seal of binding, woven from silk. This design prominently features the Hollow Knight's head, and can be found in the White Palace, as well as blocking the exit during the Hollow Knight fight. Silk spools created by the Weavers can be found in the Stag Station in Deep Nest, as well as the Stag Station next to the White Palace. These spools can also be found in the Pale King's workshop. We know that the Weavers were closely tied to Hera and Hornet, so their actions might have been a part of the deal between the Pale King and Hera. Once the Hollow Knight was ready, the Radiance was somehow channeled into the vessel, which was then placed inside of a giant black egg located in the Forgotten Crossroads. This egg was
What if
built
it's
to
angry
sustain the
because it
Hollow
never
Knight,
agreed to
and
it?
itself appears to be fashioned from void. The Hollow Knight was chained up, and the entrance to the black egg was locked behind a powerful seal created by the three dreamers. Initially, this convoluted plan actually worked, and the infection was successfully contained. Memorials to the Hollow Knight and the Dreamers were erected in the City of Tears and the Resting Grounds. But this is the part of the story where things get a little bit hazy. By the time these statues were constructed, citizens had taken to writing on parchment woven from spider silk, which was all destroyed when water started pouring down onto the city. We don't know how long the Hollow Knight was able to completely contain. They felt at peace within the walls, but after a while they stopped going, perhaps indicating that the infection was beginning to leak out again. The infectious air continued to seep through Hallownest for years, eventually even reaching the deepest parts of the kingdom.
They never
As it turns
go
out,
through
the
how
Pale
the
King's pure
infection
vessel
spreads, though.
wasn't quite so pure after all. The Hollow Knight had been tarnished by an idea instilled. While the game never explicitly tells us what that idea was, it does hint strongly at what it might be. Hidden away in the White Palace is a memory showing the Hollow Knight and the Pale King sharing a moment. The Hollow Knight might have developed a parental bond to the Pale King, and who could blame it? The Pale King is a pretty great dad after all. You know, if you ignore the infanticide. Turns out their trust in the Pale King was a complete mistake. That shared mind isn't looking too good now, is it? In the fungal core, the corpse of a giant mushroom lies dormant. Its final thoughts were, Pale worm, what good to see a demise unavoidable? This could imply that the Pale King always knew that his kingdom was when Hallownest, as it once was, entirely collapsed.
Yeah, but
The Hollow
how
Knight
does
had
it
not
how does
completely
it
stopped
spread,
the infection,
Muckworm? That's what I'm
and
asking.
while it may have taken a while, Hallownest was eventually brought low. It's at this point that characters and areas begin to resemble as we know them in-game. When it became clear that the Hollow Knight was not able to contain the Radiance, the Pale King resorted to his final plan. He fucked off, hiding himself, his White Palace, and his Pale Court in the Dream World. At this point, all of the furniture in the palace was covered under white sheets, similar to how people in the real world cover their furniture while away on long trips.
Oops.
The palace was also completely covered with thorns and buzzsaws, similar to how people in the real world away while sitting on his throne in the White Palace. There's no confirmation on what killed him, but there are a few things to consider. The throne room is incredibly dark compared to the rest of the palace, and the particle effects and ambient track in this room are identical to that of the Abyss. All of the king's molds surrounding the Pale King are dead. The ancient basin itself also has become stained with the presence of void, as it can be seen as high as the rundown elevator shaft leading back to the city. Remember that bug that was sealed away in the Abyss to make sure the lighthouse wasn't turned off? Well, the lighthouse was turned off. I guess that whole living with purpose thing is a crock of shit after all. It seems as though the Sea of Void itself actually convinced this bug to betray his king and turn off the lighthouse. Now I know what you're thinking. Exactly how conscious is the Void? Is the Void able to... Well, according to this Chozo statue ripoff, the Void is powerful, but all out in unison to turn off a light, it's not a single conscious being. Getting back to the Pale King, one could argue that the Void might have played a role in his ultimate demise, and I've argued that viewpoint in the past. But we have to remember that there isn't enough evidence to know
But the
for
Radiance
sure.
is still pissed
As an
off,
expert lawyer and
so
a
it
good friend of
infects
mine,
them in a
Johnny
bad way
Cochran
anyway.
once said, any evidence that the Void was involved in the Pale King's death is circumstantial. Heroes weren't faring much better. Even if we ignore the fact that the infection was still around, there were other issues that helped lead to the city's downfall. Due to the gates being sealed, some bugs resorted to cannibalism in order to avoid starvation. And there's also that metric fuckton of corpses lining the walls of the Soul Sanctum. When all was said and done, the only citizen left standing is Eternal Emelita, who just laughs her ass off about it like she's a fucking Dark Souls character. The White Lady ends up in a cocoon deep within the Queen's gardens. She decided to place bindings on herself in order to keep her from spreading her seed. She claims that this is because of the shame she feels in helping the Pale King create the vessels, but honestly, it's probably just from unwanted visitors. Outside her cocoon, Drya stood guard, protecting her queen from the violent traitor mantises. Drya is eventually killed off by these bugs, which is actually pretty pathetic if you think about it. I mean, we're talking like the Netgear WPN king of great knights dying pathetically. Let's move on to Hagemul. Hagemul held the city crest, a key used to open one of the gates to the City of Tears. At some point, Hagemul's armor shell was stolen by a maggot. Now, maggots were generally looked down upon and forced to do menial labor. They were incredibly weak, and basically deserved all of the discrimination they got.
What?
But this one maggot decided to turn the tide, so he stole Hagemul's shell so that he could defend his downtrodden brothers. His actions weren't motivated by the infection, but instead was the result of how hierarchical caste systems will always lead to revolution from the working class, and that true freedom can only... Ogre moved to the Royal Waterways and started living in
how
shit,
it happened.
changing his name
That's
to
why the
Dung
bug
Defender.
has the fucking armor.
Now, I love wallowing in shit as much as the next guy, but you'd have to really love shit to put up with living with the flukes. The Dung Defender kept an unwavering sense of duty and loyalty to the king, and love for his fellow knights. So much so that he made shit statues of them. How nice. Ogrim acted as the defender of the pipeways, as well as Isma's Grove. A section of the Royal Waterways became filled with acid, and in the middle of it all rests Isma's corpse, which has been overcome by plant life. Isma is likely the one responsible for this acid blight, but we have no idea what happened to her. Hornet's whereabouts during this time are fairly mysterious. We know that she departed Deep Nest and didn't return until the events of the game. At some point, she took to guarding Halnest from intruding warriors, as well as the cast-off shell in the Kingdom's Edge. Despite the Kingdom's woes at large, fortunately this fate did not befall one of the fandom's favorite characters. The Menderbugs continued to fix the broken signs and wayposts of Halnest. From a diary entry, we can see that one Menderbug in particular had found himself on the precipice of a long and loving relationship.
Hello again, diary. It is bunch when we muster my courage and why
This timely born. The Mosskin were waiting for Un's call, which would bring them back into the dream they were originally born from. But for some reason, Un's strength deteriorated. We don't know why this happened exactly. Was it due to the White Lady claiming part of her kingdom? Was it somehow due to the infection? Some Mosskin believe that Un went into hiding, but it appears as though Un is, in fact, calling to her children. But many of the Mosskin are unable to hear her call. Instead, many Mosskin seem to have taken the Radiance's infection into their leaves, which might explain why Greenpath became overgrown with vegetation despite Un's deteriorating powers. Mossy vagabonds even openly chose to forsake Un and worship the Radiance. Another tribe to be screwed over by the Radiance is the Hive, which fell to the infection after the death of their leader, Hive Queen Vespa. But it appears as though this had little effect on their civilization. The Radiance's hive mind was already familiar to the bees, since the hive probably operated under something similar already. So in other words, the hive probably made out the best in this whole situation. Let's turn our attention back to the moths. After all, it's their god that keeps killing everybody. Well, the moth tribe didn't fare too well actually, as pretty much the entire tribe died out. The only known survivor is the seer. Despite the loss of her tribe, the seer continued to tend to the graves in the resting grounds dreamt of for a while. In the Kingdom's Edge, the land became covered in ash melting off of the worm's decomposing corpse. The Colosseum of Fools continued to thrive. The Lord Fool passed away at some point, but still seemed to have maintained control over themselves. It seems possible that these bugs took in the infection willingly, similar to the Traitor Lord and his followers. This would have given them an edge in combat, similar to using steroids, but without the whole shrinking test these fools any more special. As for the Pale King's champion, the Pale Lurker, well, she just went the normal kind of insane. There appears to have been another unforeseen event with the Pale King's plan. When the Hollow Knight was originally chosen, the door to the Abyss was sealed, trapping the discarded vessels within. But apparently, some vessels didn't get the memo. Vessel corpses can be found littered throughout the kingdom. There's one in the Ancient Basin, one in Greenpath, and several trapped in Nosk's lair in Deep Nest. Another vessel that escaped from the Abyss is the player character, the Knight. The exact details on how the vessels escaped the Abyss is unclear. There are indications that they might have slipped into Deep Nest through some old passageway, given void influences in part of the area, and all the corpses found in Nosk's lair. At some point, all entrances to Halnest were closed off, with the old well and Earthmouth being the only way, with few ever returning. But other bugs seemed interested in something greater. In the Howling Cliffs rests the corpse of a member of the Grim Troop. The task of this bug appears to have been to seek out Halnest, so that the troop might be summoned to the kingdom in the future. The Grim Troop are basically a group of bugs that serve a higher being known as the Nightmare Heart. The troop keeps the heart alive by feeding on the nightmares of fallen kingdoms. This process also involves sacrificing the troop master to his own child because, hey, look at this cool ass boss battle. Another important group that traveled to Halnest are the God Seekers. After being abandoned by their old gods,
Finally, about the
gods
God
of thunder
Seekers here.
and the gods of rain, these bugs left their home in the land of storms, seeking out a new god to worship. The God Seekers looked to gods to save them from their own silent mind. While traveling through the wastelands, the God Seekers constructed devices called God Tuners, which helped them seek out new gods. Through this device, they were able to detect the lingering power of the Pale King and find their way to Halnest. When they arrived, however, the God Seeker was forced into hibernation. She was encased in a strange sarcophagus-like cocoon, which, seeing as the cocoon appears to have been made by the God Seeker herself. As for who put the cocoon in chains, I think the most likely can be waterways, an area the Dung Defender has tasked himself with protecting. This was the general picture of Halnest after the Hollow Pale King civilization was rebelling against nature, trying to keep his work standing indefinitely.
Alright,
The stasis over Halnest
let's go.
held for
Kava,
an
you ready?
age.
Oh, thing is, are you still playing?